Hey everybody, how's it going? Good Sunday afternoon. It is time for another Seattle Mariner 10 game check in. And unfortunately, while this check in is not as bad as it could have been, it wasn't a very good 10 game stretch for the Mariners, and they earned their 4 and 6 record over the last 10 games. And honestly, I think we should all consider ourselves fortunate it wasn't worse than that because we had to go on a 2 game winning streak powered largely by a couple of people maybe starting to wake up in order to avoid a much worse fate. So, looking at the last 10 games, like I said, 4 and 6, let's just blow right into things. Let's just start taking a look at these last 10 games on the schedule. Last time we checked in, I talked about how the offense needed to get it together. The offense proceeded to have a rough game against the Orioles, where, to their credit, they got it together in the eighth inning. Scored 4 runs. There was a 3 run shot by, I think it was Kyle Lewis. And it looked like, okay, maybe this offense is starting to figure things out. If Kyle Lewis wakes up, that's big. Then we got no hit by John Means or whatever his name is. Absolutely lit up by a pitcher who is good. He's having a good year, but you wouldn't consider him to be one of the best pitchers in baseball or anything like that. So got no hit. Only reason why we didn't get perfected is because of a called third strike wild pitch. Yeah, okay. So I challenged the offense to start figuring things out, and they immediately get no hit. So that was cool. We then won a close game in Texas, and then the skid started, and it looked like the reality check was here. We lost a game that the bullpen absolutely punted. Thank you, Anthony Sandwich, who, by the way, is falling apart right before our very eyes in general. But this game was kind of the epicenter of his meltdown. Gave up a late lead against the Rangers, blew a very winnable game. Should have been a W. That should have been the game to keep our head above water right now. Didn't get it done. Blown out on Mother's Day. We got swept by the Dodgers, which included one game where the bullpen again blew it. Montero gave up like 3 straight singles, and then he just couldn't get anybody out. I think Montero leads the entire league in blown saves now, and it's not close. Blown out in a game where he only scored 1 run. We almost got no hit against the Indians. And then, all right, okay. Now we've got 2 back-to-back games of maybe something to build on. So those are the last 10 games for the Mariners. Now, let's try to dissect things. Now, the most interesting thing about the Mariners right now is not winning and losing games. Over these last 10 games, that's not what people are talking about. They're talking about the call ups. They're talking about Jared Kelnick and Logan Gilbert, who both played their first ever game Thursday against the Indians. Now, Gilbert, he showed potential for sure, right? He's a 6'6" pitcher with some serious power in his pitches. I saw him hit like 98 or 99 a couple times with his fastball. He's got something. Now, he didn't pitch a great game by any stretch of the imagination, of course. he he absolutely struggled out there. He gave up 2 home runs. He's got stuff to work on, but you can see the potential, and you wouldn't expect him to go out there and mow down a team in his first ever start. He was on a very limited pitch count. It was cool to see him out there, even if he didn't have the best results. And obviously, he was getting no support from our lineup. We didn't get a hit on Plessic until what, the eighth inning? And then, of course, the other big call up, the bigger one probably, Jared Kelnick. He didn't do much in his opening night. He went 0 for 4 or whatever. Went 0 for 5 last night, I think. But sandwiched in between that was Friday, where he went for 3 hits, including a home run and 2 doubles. So that was exciting. And right now, bigger than wins or losses, especially singular wins or singular losses, is keeping an eye on those 2 guys, Gilbert and Kelnick, because their ability to add something to this team as the season goes on and show that they can be studs in 2022 is crucial. And don't be surprised if you see Julio Rodriguez get called up in the near future. So That's kind of the bigger thing going on right now. Those guys got called up. It's cool. We've seen potential from both of them. It hasn't been perfect, but it's never going to be. So, as for the performance of the team overall, it's starting to get away from us. The reality check might be here. And unfortunately, the lineup hasn't gotten that much better. Although the last two games, we've done some things. We've put up some runs. We put up some runs on the board. But overall, the lineup is still the lineup that we had the first 30 games, which is a lineup that is, well, really bad. And our bullpen, which was the seat of our power, has really gotten away from us. We've blown two very winnable games in the last 10 because of the bullpen. The bullpen in general just hasn't been playing that well. And we don't really have anything going on this team to replace the bullpen in terms of giving us chances to win games. So let's go take a look at the lineup to see where we stand after 40 games. We have one guy batting above 250. We have one guy batting at 250, and he swings a banjo, so it barely counts. And that's really about it. It's still ugly. Our team collectively is hitting 205. So somehow we are scoring runs at a reasonable clip. We are 10th in the AL out of 15 teams, which is below average, but it's not terrible. Mostly because we have been clutch. When runners are on in scoring position, we're doing well. We are hitting at a decent clip with runners in scoring position. We are also 6th in the AL in home runs. We are one of the better teams in the league at hitting the ball out of the park. So our hits are counting for something. Our hits matter. We are making our hits matter for something. So, hey, I got to give the team some credit for making the most of their limited ability, but that limited ability is killer right now. And if you take a look at Ops Plus, which is my favorite stat to evaluate baseball batters, at least, of course, we have four guys who are above average. Four guys who are above average. One of them is Ty France, who, as we all know, has completely fallen off a cliff. He's on the 10-day IL right now. We're not going to see him for a few games. Probably not going to see him for about a week at least. But that dude had completely lost the game by the time he got put on IL. Completely lost it. And while guys like Kyle Lewis, Dylan Moore, and to a certain extent even Evan White were starting to slowly figure it out, you still have guys like J.P. Crawford and Jose Marmolejos, who I don't want to see anymore, guys. I am super done with Jose Marmolejos. I want to see him sent down very badly. Very much done with Jose Marmolejos. I don't want to see him in this lineup anymore. Hopefully, bringing up Kelnick will make it so we don't have to play him that often, because I'm sick of his at-bats. They're just ugly. I would rather have Sam Haggerty out there. At least he's fast. So, yeah, Torrens has continued his decline into one of the worst hitters in the league. While we do have some guys who might be starting to figure it out, Kyle Lewis has been drawing some walks. Dylan Moore popped a home run last night, and he's starting to get back to where he was last year. At least he's one step closer to being a respectable MLB hitter. There are just too many guys on this team who aren't figuring it out. Obviously, we sent down Trammell, and I don't know. I know that Dylan Moore's better than he's shown in his first 40 games. I know that Kyle Lewis is only going to get better as he regains confidence coming off that injury. But I don't know about Marmolejos. I don't know about Torrens. I'm starting to really have questions about Evan White. I don't know. I don't know if these guys are going to figure it out anytime soon, but we're running out of time on this year. If you go to the pitching, like I said, Anthony Sandwich has unfortunately left the circle of trust. His ERA plus is down to 86. Montero is down to 75. Really hoping that we don't have to use him as a high leverage pitcher anymore. But the real issues that this lineup this lineup of pitchers is running into right now is Injuries. Injuries have us trying to manufacture starter solutions in the form of bullpen starts. And I hate the bullpen starts more than anything. I absolutely hate it when we start with a dude who we know is only going to pitch 2 to 3 innings. I just feel like it screws up the flow of the game and it leaves us with such limited options by the end of the game that somebody's going to blow it. And that's what we've seen a couple times in the last few games. Marco needs to hurry back. I know he was not off to a good start, but we know that Marco is our best starter as of right now. Marjavicius and LJ Newsome, they're going to be gone for a long time, and I don't know if they were any good to begin with. They certainly weren't pitching well this year. But we're just kind of running out of starter options. You still got Dunn, who is pitching really well, by the way. I got to give it up to Justin Dunn. Sheffield had a pretty good game last night, but on the whole, he's playing pretty lackluster. Kikuchi is starting to put it together. I got to give him credit. He's pitched some good games and just hasn't gotten support from the bats. And obviously, we have the new homie, Logan Gilbert, but that still leaves us with one starter slot open, and you know that we're going to be using those on bullpen starts, and I hate that. Hate the bullpen starts. I will continue to give credit to guys like Kendall Graveman, Drew Steckenrider, Will Vest. Those guys are coming out of the pen and still doing work, but we have lost the plot with Anthony Sandwich. We continue to lose the plot with Montero, and this team is running out of assets. This team is running out of positive things to talk about, right? We have a few above average starters. Oh, Chris Flexen. I forgot to give Chris Flexen his. Chris Flexen, he continues to pitch really well for us. ERA of sub 3.5. But this team is running out of things to hang their hat on. So hopefully Logan Gilbert can be the guy for the rest of the season and at least be a competent starter. We need Sheffield to pick his game up a little bit. He's not pitching terribly, but he's got to get it together a little more. And we need to have that six-man rotation. We need to have a six-man rotation one way or the other because these bullpen starts are sucking the life out of me. But it's not even really about the pitching. Our ERA as a club is not good, but it's not terrible. The real problem is this lineup looks historically bad right now. It's these guys who need to figure it out. We have a batting average that is bottom in the AL, and it's close to being historically bad. So I'm going to leave everybody on that note. Peace out. Go Mariners. Game number 41 starts soon here, and I'm going to continue to watch this lineup and hope they figure it out, but it's been ugly through 40 games, point blank, period.